Hello, everybody, and welcome to my channel. I am Luna. This is Luna and Friends, where we have a guest every week, and we talk about all things spiritual. We talk about mind, body, and spirit alignment. We talk about esoteric and just basically living here inside Earth. So today, our guest is Jesus.
How you doing?
So, would you like to share a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, my name's Jesus de la Cruz. I'm a spiritual teacher and guide. I'm called a chakra squad. Basically, I'm a chakra expert. Okay, so I basically teach you how to do everything from within. So any tool that you use outside of your body, anything from tarot to astrology to the Bible, whatever, right, is an outside source. So I teach you how to do everything that anything outside of your body can do for you from within. Okay. But you can find me on different platforms. You can find me on TikTok under Thoth is Jesus. THOTHIS Jesus. All right. And then you can find me on TikTok under Archaic Teachers of Anuna. And on Instagram, 8D. I repeat, 8D as in dog underscore Jesus of the cross. Okay, and the reason you'll see Jesus of the cross, because that's actually what my name stands for. Jesus de la Cruz. Jesus of the cross.
That's awesome. So what made you discover your abilities?
Fate. I never studied any of this. So it wasn't like I wanted to get into this. It wasn't like I chose this path. It chose me. So before this, I was signed to 1017 Brick Squad, which is Gucci Mane's label. Right. So if you guys know Waka Flocka and all of that from back in the day, they signed me. So that was what I was doing. And I was also a businessman in the music industry, actually entertainment industry, from models to movies to TV shows, all of that. Right. So I didn't live in this life. I was very low vibrational. I was. So I was caught up in the matrix. But then I had an awakening right before I signed my record deal. So I had what's called a Kundalini awakening. And I'm not going to get too detailed in that because that's a whole nother story. But if we get into it later, maybe. But basically, I met 7 different past lives where I had blockages and I got past them all and I met God or the universe. All right. So when I met the universe, it showed me 7 past lives. So I knew what I was capable of, at least in those past lives. And I seen how that affected me. But then once I got through all of those, I got access to 7 different chakras from scratch, from not having any beliefs into nothing. So I went from having no desire to be in this path to overnight becoming this path. And then I had to step away from everything. I left my old girlfriend. We had a house together. I was raising her kids. I had mine, but he didn't live with me. So basically, I walked away from my old life, including that record deal. I also had a business where I made 100 grand a year. I walked away from that. I walked away from everything on a blind faith. So that's why I say fate changed my life, because I knew I could do this. I just had to go find out what this was. So that's the best way to explain it. That's how I got into this path.
I like that. Like my story isn't as intense as yours, but I'm with you. Like what is it? The thug life. I didn't choose the thug life, but the thug life chose me. Like that's how I feel about the spiritual. Like I try to not do it sometimes, or sometimes I don't think about it or don't feel it. So then it goes away and then something keeps bringing me back no matter what, and I'm like, I can't escape this life, and this is the life that brings me more peace than the matrix life.
See, but because I was a leader in that life with celebrities and with like all of that comes with that. You know what I mean? So with all of that, I don't see people the same because them celebrities are low, right? And I'd be like, y'all funny. Just basically, I just kind of laugh at them because the shit that they believe in isn't shit that I believe in. But then I don't really get along with most spiritual people because I'm not part of that community either because I didn't grow up in this shit. So I kind of have a rock star mentality in this, right? Like I don't give a fuck what you do. Do what you do. That ain't got shit to do with me. You know what I mean? So like I carry that swag because I had no matter what I do, I always have a following. I got a real following in real life that has nothing to do with this, right? Where people know who the fuck I am. So I don't let this fake following because it's online. An online following isn't real, right? But I do understand that people believe in me, and that is real. Okay, but I don't let that get to my head where I'm like, oh, I'm the shit. And nah, it's just I reach these people, and that is what it is. But it's not real. Like that's where people be getting shit twisted. Like I'm an influencer. I am too, and I actually make money, right? So like there's tons of fake influencers that just have a following and that have no substance. You know what I mean? I change people's lives every day. And I don't need nobody's validity or validation in what I do. So I don't look for it. So that's kind of why I think I got as many followers as I do. Because I don't have no desire to fit in.
You know, lately I've been having this like rebellious feeling, like that teenage, and I've been tuning into more of that. And even me, I noticed that everything that everyone does, I do the opposite. Like people like this band. Well, I don't like them. I like that band. You know, whatever the case may be. Or they like that outfit. Well, I don't wear that. I wear something else. So with that, I realized like I am in this world alone and I do things on my own and I don't do the things that other people do. And I'm on the same boat with you with that. Like everyone just let everybody be who they are. Let them be them and they live their lives and I just want to live my life.
And then what kind of so after this awakening, I didn't know what the fuck happened. Right. So I had to do my own research. Like I had to start digging because I wasn't into this. So I didn't study. I grew up Catholic, so I knew damn sure that wasn't the route to look. Like, you know what I mean? They don't teach shit about what I just fucking saw, and they're against reincarnation. So I was like, nah, y'all not the ones. Right. So then I had to start doing my own research. So I just started searching past lives. Okay. Then I started approaching like Hindu religion and more Middle East. And eventually I found Sadhguru, right? Sadhguru had told what does it mean to have a Kundalini awakening. There's a couple different kinds. He was like, basically, we put them in three categories according to like yogis and shit. So there's the kind that wake up spontaneously, which is like I did. So all seven of mine were blocked, and mine woke up through chaos. And there's the people who work progressively through their life to hopefully achieve this goal. And then there's people who wake up enlightened. So there's only three. That's the categories they put you in, right? As far as when it comes to the Kundalini. There's 114 chakras, which means there's 112 different ways to get there. The last two are outside of your body. Okay. So basically, he was like, when somebody awakens spontaneously, it's chaos. And if you have the desire to jump into the void blindly, he was like, you are crazy. But that's what it takes to be enlightened. And because basically I was fighting it. Like when I woke up, the second time I planned it, that's where I got videos. I'll send you that footage. Maybe you can like somehow prop it in there in this for your podcast. But basically the second time, because I knew what I did the first time, and that was nuts. So the second time I planned it and I had somebody there to record me. Like I even seen my body like ticking. And I was like, oh fuck, it's coming. It's coming. And I was like, man, I gotta let go. And once you let go, which is what he's talking about in this video, I even sent you that too. But basically, you gotta let go of everything and jump into the abyss, right? So I did, and that's how I went through all these past lives. I had to let go because I was holding on because I was scared, right? When you're scared, you just don't know what's on the other side. So I had to say, fuck it. And then when I did, it was crazy. That's all I can say. It was crazy. But basically, I went through time and I got to see evolution from humans, right? And I got to see when we were aliens and shit too, like before we were humans. So I seen that we're all one, right? So once I seen that we're all one, I was like, man, this is crazy. It's crazy. But then I started on the path that I'm on, you know? So I think it was worth it.
Well, I too experienced a Kundalini awakening that was brought on. I had a very spontaneous, like from the day that I began to now, it's been less than 3 years. And in that time, I grew a business. I learned tarot. I learned how to make candles. I learned how to sell candles. I learned how to market my own self. I got a brick and mortar. And on top of that, letting all this stuff about me dying and letting all this stuff go. But I remember like when I broke my arm and I would just like be covered in sweat. And I thought it was because my cast or it was uncomfortable even after I had it taken off. Like it was just all these symptoms that I was going through and like feeling really weird and like really feeling like I left my body and so many of these experiences. And it was so hard for me to really know what was going on. And to be honest, like I had tried LSD for the first time twice around that time. So I'm like, well, maybe it was just a side effect from that. And then it was like it just continued. And after all this time, it's still just progressing and going. And it's hard to even explain at times.
Yeah, that's why when I had told you, when you broke your arm, you accessed DNA because that's in your heart, just because it's in that region, right? So you started accessing your heart DNA, which is it's crazy because we don't talk about that. But that's why I even in our session where I had told you that that's why you hear those cases where somebody hits their head on a wall or something and they turn on something inside of them. It's not the fucking accident that does it, it's the vibration of the access, right? So it fucking shook that shit enough where it gave you access to it. Because all that means is oxygen started getting there, but it was blocked for so long. So after it fucking vibrated so hard, you were breathing. Because in any type of chaos, you're breathing hard, right? So when that shit opened, it's basically like, oh, instantly, where you started like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Your cat's over there fucking shit up, man. Oh, I lost you. Come, there you go.
Yeah, took the camera down. Being a jerk.
See, cats be in tune. Too.
I know. This is my second cat, and my cat came back, the cat spirit. But it was crazy yesterday. My son had me read a book to him, and it was about volcanoes. So I'm reading him this educational book, and they were talking about like how the all of the lava and stuff is down, and then when it's that vibration and it releases all of that. And reading it yesterday, I was like, this is so a person. This is what happens, that it's like your root, and then it gets shooken up, and all of that from deep down, it comes out, and it's like that explosive hot lava magma that's coming out, and it's shooting through, and it takes water, which is emotion, to kind of cool that down. So I just thought it was cool. Like I really saw the introspect of how the outside world literally is us on the inside.
Yeah. So when you do see that, I'm agreeing with you though, by the way. So basically like a volcano is like a pimple on somebody's face. You know what I mean? And then and all that is okay. So like, and I take this and we could probably apply it to life, but there's no proof behind what I'm saying. So for the viewers watching, this is just me. Okay, so like you see right here, I'm gonna bring you in. I got 2 pimples. Okay, those are only. I don't get many pimples. I actually got a really clean face all the time. But the only time I do get pimples is when I access somewhere new. So where are these pimples at?
Third eye.
So I've been using it. So like your body will show you what's going on with you. And yeah, I could fuck with this, but I know the reason for it. You know what I mean? It's because I'm using those muscles. So when you start to break out, there's some action going on in here. And then people we ignore it, we're like, oh, it's so like when we're teens, we're like, we're going through puberty. But I never had pimples in puberty. So like, did I miss it? You know what I mean? It's stress, right? So if you're not using these muscles on the regular, you'll develop stress when you can hold these blockages or attachments inside your body. And then they develop into that shit.
That makes sense.
So basically you can either make it happen yourself because you're working on yourself, or your body's gonna do it on its own time. And that's when you get pimples and shit.
You know what? That's right. Because like I noticed when I eat really good and like I was even trying to figure out when am I more productive? When am I my best self? Like, is it really when I'm eating healthy foods and things like that? And it actually is like when I'm eating clean and drinking water and taking good care of myself and wearing makeup and washing my face really good.
Yeah, so we all got those things, you know what I mean, that make us feel better. But it's the mind state, really. Like
It
where
is,
you because you walk out like I'm cold and motherfucker.
right?
You know what I
Because it
mean?
makes me feel good.
Like don't touch me. I'm too
Yeah.
fly for that. You
If
know
you
what I
have the energy to apply that to yourself, that means that you have the long lasting energy to get through the day.
Yeah, most definitely.
So how did you know that you were, besides like looking it up? So like basically were you experiencing these things and then you looked up the symptoms or
I didn't look up my symptoms because that's the human in you. I knew this wasn't human. Like, I'm not even human. That's not the right word. That's the matrix version of you, natural instinct, is to look up the symptoms. But I know that I'm not a fan of anything of Western society. So I didn't look up symptoms. What I looked up was what I was going through. So I looked up when you go through past lives and you can't get out of it. So like I was looking up, okay, so for example, you know how they say when some people trip and they never come back and they all you need is one bad trip. So what happens is they get into their past lives and they got past life trauma and they don't want to see the outcome. They don't want to see the end because it's horrible. So I'll tell you about one of mine. So one of my past life traumas that I was trying to get through was me being some messiah type kid in like the Knights Templar time. So everything was like stone walls and cave, kind of not cave, but dungeon like, right? So at that time, so I kept seeing this life where I hear the fucking soldiers knocking on the door. My mom answering the door, but I'm hiding in the basement. But because of the way the time is set up, you hear them walking, boom, 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 and it's fucking every step is fucking terror because they're getting closer to killing me. So I kept seeing where they would get to me and I would start over, and they would get to me and I would get closer to the end, then it would start over, and then it would get closer, and so the part where I'm seeing them about to swing the fucking whatever it cuts off my head, and my body's not letting me see it, right? And then I finally did see it, and then I moved on to my next life, right? So what that does is it causes some type of trauma in this life, right? Why I'm scared of blowing up, right? Like being famous, right? Because I do have that fear, but it's not the same fear that everyone has. People be thinking about paparazzi and stupid shit. That's the matrix. I'd be thinking about death because that's what I've experienced in my other lives. So like, even though I'm still gonna do it, I bring it on. I bring death on. But it's like, so when you do those things, like you have to overcome them. So I had to see that first and know that I had that in me. And then once I overcame it, I applied it to my life. Stop being scared, bro. You got this. We live in a different time. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's how the past life traumas affect you now.
I think for me, when I have that fear, it's having guidance, being a guide to a lot more people and having to be there for a lot more people. I think that's what it is. Cause it's like, you know, they're gonna be relying on me or coming to me and wanting more information and more guidance.
But see, I grew up in sports where I was a team captain in football. I grew up wrestling where I was a team captain in wrestling. So I already knew how to lead people. And then, like I told you, I used to manage a whole music movement in my city and then around the country. I had different artists and shit. So I wasn't scared of that part. Like I had even coached kids. I coached youth programs. We won championships, whether it was baseball, whether it was wrestling. So it had nothing to do with me. So like I knew I was born a leader. Like, nah, this is what I was being trained for. I just didn't know I was being trained for this. I just thought I was just always that role. You know what I mean? Somebody got to take lead. But this is what I was being trained for, to lead people.
Do you understand your purpose and your mission?
Yeah, and I'm living it. But there is things that I don't tell people because it's not for them, and it's not for them to understand. And that's where a lot of people get shit twisted. As soon as they get one little inch of little hint of being conscious, they fucking run with it and tell people that they had they're enlightened or all of that. And I'm like, bro, you ain't faced nothing hard in your life. We live in the United States. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Unless you've been homeless, unless you've been to prison, bro. Unless you tell me you got some hardships, bro. What have you really overcame? You know what I mean? Other than shit you created in your mind. Like I wanted to get this job, right? Or I wanted to work hard so that I can win a state championship. Right, nigga? No, you created that shit in your head. And that's a different adversity. That's a brain adversity where I can do these things. The different adversity is being poor. Like, what do you do when you ain't got no food? Do you just sit there and wait for your parents to bring you food, or do you go out there and get it? You know what I mean? That's the type of adversity that creates people like me. If you ain't had no hardships in your life, I probably not gonna vibe with you because you don't know what it takes to be like me. So I've been to prison. You know what I mean? I've been arrested 30 sometimes. I wasn't always this person. I know what it takes to fucking do whatever you want to do in this life. Sometimes you go to jail because what you want to do in this life, there's rules, but they're not my rules. Those are man-made. So there's no way I'm gonna fucking live my life to man-made rules.
The way that I see it is like it's these rules like not that you have to follow them, but you be a community leader, you show the proper way, but you do what makes you feel better, basically. Like you be kind, be loving, but you know, do live your life. And like people in this group, they were complaining about cars parking the opposite because the street, you know, and they were out parking on the other side of the street.
That's just like, bro, that's just you being petty. Like, why do you care about shit like that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and I wanted to comment so bad, like, why does it matter? Like for real, like why does someone parking there have to make you so uncomfortable that you have feelings towards it, uncomfortable feelings?
That's because they don't know what the world is. They fucking grew up privileged. So when you grow up privileged, you fucking find stupid shit because basically you was born not born, but you was raised kind of in a bitch ass lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like where shit doesn't go wrong. And then when you do see shit go wrong, that's what does it for you, motherfucker. Like, what about these people mugging people? What about these people? Like, there's real shit going on. There's people not eating. There's kids not eating. Like, bro, but you got mad at this dude for parking the wrong way because he's doing Uber Eats. You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Straight up. Like, the real people who make a difference have been through shit. That's why you don't see me like, I don't praise people. I don't praise people because if you do this correctly, it's going to get harder and harder because you got to be the one to show people that you can get through this shit. It's
Yeah,
hard.
but we also need encouragement along the way. You know, the people who are actually putting themselves out there and just going, and you know, even people who get up. You know, life sucks. Life is hard, and we create these hardships, and that's why us as role models and guides, we're here to just be like, look, we don't even need none of this. Like, it doesn't even matter. It's all fake.
Yeah, because even in like what you just said, like motivation and all that, like I never had that. I was my own motivation. Like there was never no one there to push me, just me. So I don't need people to push me. I was that person for me. So I lead by example. Like, sure, some people need that shit, okay? But you might have grew up in a better life than me. You don't need that shit. You want that shit. Some people just got it in them. You know what I mean? But because of either that or you was gonna die or you was gonna be poor, or you gonna end up in prison. So you gotta have that in you in order to be successful.
Yeah, you don't need it, but it makes the journey go by better when you build those relationships and build those connections. And you're in your shadow, by the way. You're in your
Almost
shadow energy.
always. I live in darkness. I don't live in light. But it's because the darkness is where the truth is. The
Yeah.
truth of me, truth of you, truth of the world.
You're in there, but there's some swords and some imposter going on while you're in there with your masculine.
Maybe.
Oh, you're walking into the unknown. You're walking even further into your shadow. Like you're really going deep in there. You're on a journey. You're discovering something.
That's why I can do things that nobody is teaching. Not that nobody else can do. Because there's tons of people that can do what I do, and nobody can teach it. Because that's the difference. Is I learned what I'm doing by going into the depths. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where most
Your
people are born with it.
your masculine's gonna hit a tower moment.
It needs it though. We all need these moments because we live in vibration, meaning we go up and down.
Yeah.
That's the way it works. So sometimes it's long, which means the downfall is going to be just as long. But if it's quick, good and bad should be balanced. Dark and light should be balanced. You know what I mean?
Oh, oh, so you're the feminine or you're the masculine?
I would say, I would say,
You're
man,
on you're on a love journey.
I'm what?
You're on a love journey.
Maybe, but that might be why I'm not looking for it.
No, you really are. So you must, yeah, you're the feminines. It's someone who makes you feel like a kid because you're in disunion now. So you are, you're not connected with your masculine and feminine. You got the lovers. So there's stagnant energy and not waiting for the time to ripen.
What do you, I mean, we're gonna hold on real quick. I think somebody's about to come to my door. But can you go in a little bit more depth than that? Maybe do another.
I can, but the time's gonna be running out, so I'm gonna have to do a reading.
The time. How much time we got?
Oh, I don't, it's at 10 minutes, about like 2 minutes ago.
Nah, don't worry about that. Then. Don't worry about that.
Well, your sun's gonna come out, so that I think that's what it needs. I think you're pushing yourself further into your shadow instead of coming out of it. So I think you're running. I think you're running into your shadow. So you gotta take that light and bring it out. And you got the Queen of Swords, so you're come off as like mean and like you think you're putting boundaries,
Hold
but
on,
you're
hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Somebody's at my door real quick. Okay. I'll be right back. Fuck.
okay. So he walked away. So I'm gonna continue with this reading. Okay, right? So let's get into it. So the Fool, so you're back at 0. You got the 2 of Cups hiding behind that. Your heart is definitely trapped and coming out of it. You feel like you're in a no-win situation, but amongst that, you're finding your emotional fulfillment. So there's some magic brewing, but you're not able to see it. I think you're going more in one area in the darkness rather looking at overall so much, the possibility of so much more. And you're gonna take a leap of faith here with your pentacles and knowledge. But yeah, there's some unconditional love that needs to happen. I'm continuing with your reading, so you can go back and look at more. But you're back at 0. And then under that, you got the 2 of Cups. So this is all, you got the 2 of Cups, the Lovers in reverse, the 8 of Swords, so your heart's like getting out of this entrapment. Yeah, so it's time to find your happiness. Because I think even though you say that you live in the shadow and in the darkness, you're not happy in the 3D. So you're not making the most out of it in the 3D world.
I think it's coming. I wrote about this the other day. How it's like, you know how you just feel shit changing? But it wasn't by choice. Like, because I do live life and I do whatever I want to do in this life. So like, I don't know if happiness is the right word, because I guess I'm not looking for happiness. I'm looking to achieve what I want to achieve. Right. So I would say that you're right, but it's not that I don't want happiness. It's just not on my list of things that should be the top priority, but I'm happy. I would just say happiness isn't my goal, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think what it is you don't know what you want, how you want the happiness.
True.
Because, like, what is happiness in the 3D? Like, we're spiritual beings. Is it okay?
That's the other thing, because, like, you know how they paint the image of what happiness is: a house, the white picket fence,
Kids, right?
But if you don't want that, like, there's nothing, like, it's not the kid thing. I want kids. That's not it. But it's just like what their view on what making it is like. I don't want that. So I need to create what is that? What is happiness if I don't want what everyone else wants? So that is more the why, but I'm also not rushing to get there. It'll happen. You know what I mean? I'm also looking for it, but not trying to manifest what I think is happiness, because that's where we fuck up. Because if I don't know what happiness is, why would I try and manifest what I think happiness is? We're just gonna end up unhappy, just like we did with all the other shit.
What makes you happy?
Things change. What used to make me happy doesn't make me happy anymore.
So what makes